When you think of Thor, you probably picture Chris Hemsworth thirst-trapping on screen shirtless, swinging Mjolnir, and somehow making lightning seem sexy. But if we're talking about the original Thor from Norse mythology, things aren't quite so glamorous. The real Thor was less about looking good for the cameras and more about smashing things first and asking questions later. But this raises the question, was Thor really the good guy he's often portrayed as, or was he just the ancient world's version of a hammer-happy bouncer? So let's dive into the myths and see what kind of character the real Thor was. In many stories, Thor is seen as the protector of Asgard and Midgard, tasked with keeping the giants at bay. In this role, he's the classic hero. He's strong, fearless, and always ready to defend the realms from chaos. Sounds like the perfect good guy, right? Well, not exactly. Thor's approach to problem solving was about as subtle as, well, a thunderstorm. If something even slightly irritated him, his first instinct was to smash it, and he didn't really care whether the threat was real or imagined. Take his relationship with the giants for example. Sure, the giants were often antagonists, but not all of them were evil. Some were wise, and others were even helpful to the gods. Thor didn't seem to care much about these distinctions. In his eyes, a giant was a giant, and if you were a giant, you were getting hammered. It's like if someone decided to go on a rampage against their entire neighborhood because one person played loud music. A little extreme, right? One famous story involves a giant named Thrym, who steals Thor's hammer and demands Freya's hand in marriage as ransom. Thor, being Thor, disguises himself as Freya to attend the wedding and retrieve Mjolnir. Once he gets it back, instead of a peaceful resolution, he slaughters everyone at the feast. It wasn't just about recovering his hammer, it was about showing the giants that no one messes with Thor and lives to tell the tale. So, while Thor was certainly a defender of Asgard, his methods were often extreme, and his temper could turn him into a force of destruction. He wasn't evil per se, but he wasn't always the noble hero we see in modern portrayals. He was more like a chaotic force of nature, good when it's aligned with his goals, but prone to anger and overreactions when crossed. So, was he really a good guy? Well, that depends on how you define good. In Norse mythology, the gods were far from perfect, and Thor was no exception. He was the guy who gets the job done, but sometimes the collateral damage makes you wonder if there wasn't a better way.